another village. They would enslave the men and marry the women and so forth and so forth. And so the slavery was part of the culture, but the reason we got into the slavery, although we had probably 100 or more million Native Americans here, and we did use them, and we did put them in slavery in the beginning to toil the fields and for the crops and all the rest, the Indians were dying off. Now this is a whole different segment. I'll keep it real short. The plagues that hit this country, from our diseases, European diseases, simple diseases, mumps, chickenpox, influenza, but the big daddy was smallpox, wiped out millions and millions of the Native Americans. It wasn't the arms that did it, it was the diseases. Case in point was Mexico City. When Cortez came in, there were 20 million living in, this is what they taught us wrong in school. A few Indians scattered here in 1919 with his people having smallpox. The infection took place and the Mexico City was reduced within 60 or 70 years from 20 million to 1.5 million.
Wow.
And of course after that you had the Andes with Pizarro coming in, and the smallpox preceded him and wiped out the people there. So it was a piece of cake to take and conquer these people. Sure, they had horses, they had guns and all that. That was helpful. When you have that kind of a population, if everyone took a population almost gone, just little tiny pieces of people in places, but for all intents and purposes, the 500,000 people are gone. And now the Spaniards who have taken, that St. Augustine established in 1565, by the way, the earliest city that is part of the United States was here in Florida. People will tell you there's no history. It wasn't Jamestown 1607, and it wasn't Plymouth, Mass 1620. It was right here in Florida 1565. It was established, and everybody of importance somehow visited Jupiter. Now this is really a kick to me. I mean, we talk about American history. This little town that I really didn't hear too much about when I lived in Miami. I'm going to reverse program, go off for a moment again. When Ponce de Leon came to Florida, remember he was looking for the Fountain of Youth, and he came across the straits, and he went up the coast. Pictures of all the other lead pieces that we found, and then here's a picture of the roster. And on this roster, the roll call roster, it has the name Harvey Roddy, died March 1st, 1838. His horse died 2 days before him of wounds. So the horse died before he did, and wounds from the Battle of the Loxahatchee. And right under there we have where they talk about another soldier, Thomas Williams, killed at the Battle of the Loxahatchee. I even have another one, I think.
We're competing history here? That's right.
Lettering.
Yeah, I'm listening to him, and I just read my flaw and said,
so these fellows in between battles had a little bit of time to kill.
King Philip War is that that's most vicious battle.
I have that one.
Huh. Yeah. More than the Civil War.
But they had
I want him to read it. Right.
Are they generally made out of the same type of material?
Well, in Florida, of course, if you get down to Miami, there are no stone projectile points.
This one that I saw,
they don't have them, but there's no stone there. Pinkish. Yeah, that's a chert. That's a chert material that you'll find on the west coast of Florida. And most of them, a lot of them were brought down. A lot of trade pieces come down from other places.
Really?
I didn't write it down.
YouTube, right?
easy. And the Spaniards said, come on down. There was already a problem with the creeks. The upper creeks, the lower creeks, were not getting along. They were looking for other places. And then you had the Yamasee War, which was England against the horizons of history. We had the prehistoric villages, prehistoric mounds, prehistoric ceremonial mounds, and burial mounds and causeways connecting them. You have all that here, and the density of these ancient people is tremendous. This was a real corridor coming north and south, because we're on the east side of Lake Okeechobee, of traveling back and forth. In fact, we have Indian trails that we have traced from Tampa clear across the state down into this corridor, coming down into this park. So it was home to thousands of people over millennia. They wanted a small army, so it was 7,000 soldiers. Now the war was doing so badly, you take our Andrew Jackson now, is having a fit, a great Indian fighter, and we're losing all the battles. We lost the battle, Dave's battle was a massacre. We lost everyone except for 2 men who came back, okay? And then there was the 2 battles of the Withlacoochee. We lost those. In fact, the second battle of the Withlacoochee went so badly that General Gaines was pinned down for 10 days. They had to eat their horses and their mules, because the Seminole Nation of 1500 was all together for the first time, and they had the army pinned, and finally, it's in the stories at the Murakami Museum. You can't see them. And
By that in a Cannondale, you're talking 2,500.
wow.
And there's another one called Trek. Lance Armstrong was
During this war, if I can think of them. First, mention the first Underground Railroad. Not to Canada, was here, to Florida. First legally sanctioned free black community, I have to get that right, in what is now the United States. That's a first. Number 3, Cowboys. Oh, I didn't tell you about the Cowboys.
No.
Somebody remind me about the Cowboys. The Cowboys. Now, if we have the first horses in the New World here in Florida, not Texas, not California, but here, think about it. Who would be the first cowboy? California doesn't have any horses. The same Seminoles who fought in the Battle of Okeechobee and had to leave because of the huge army came down the eastern corridor to here and were part of Powell's and Jessup's battle. Same people. No one seems to have picked that up. So now Powell is stumbling around. He parks his boat. He had these, I think he said 31, 32 boats that come down the Narrows, which is the water, that Powell meets Seminoles. Now remember, these are the seasoned Seminole fighters who just fought 3 weeks early in the Battle of Okeechobee. Oh God, do they know how to fight, right? So here's Powell with his sailors who were not trained in guerrilla fighting, didn't have a clue. And all of it, they meet the Indians, and they're coming on, and the Indians are backing up deliberately, suckering them into the forest, into the swamp. And then when they have them in the swamp, they're throwing a circle around them, and the sailors are beginning to panic because their brass are being picked off, and they seem to know who the leaders are.